Ladies and gentlemen, stop what you're doing because what just dropped out of the FBI files is absolutely insane. Now, we now know that the man who's accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, he was living with a transgender partner, and that partner, ladies and gentlemen, is cooperating with investigators, handing over communications that may have just helped nail Robinson as the shooter. But here is the kicker. While the FBI leaks details in carefully measured doses, President Donald J. Trump, he's had enough. Trump is not mincing words. He is not holding back. Trump is in full-blown DGAF mode. He is torching the left for years of rhetoric that painted every conservative as a fascist and laid the groundwork for this act of political violence. Now, folks, this is not about the shooter. Well, it's about the shooter, but it's not just about the shooter. It's about what his partner knew. It's about what the FBI found in those texts. And it's also about how the Democrats, the universities, and the media are already in damage control mode. They're just scrambling, trying to bury this story before it blows up their narrative forever. Now, guys, this is not just a standard update. This is the bombshell that changes everything, because Charlie Kirk's assassination was not random. Don't let him lie to you. And President Trump's brutal reaction proves he's ready to take the gloves off. So stick with me, guys. I got a lot to share with you. Hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to go very deep into this. We're going to go into the partner revelations, what the partner revealed to the FBI. We're going to talk about the FBI's cover and President Trump's no holds barred response. Mark the date, guys, because today President Donald J. Trump is not holding back. He is not softening his words. He is not playing the media's game. He's in full I don't give a freak mode, okay? Guys, he's ripping the mask off of what the FBI and the Democrats do not want you to know. And here's why. Late last night, the FBI confirmed that Tyler Robinson, the coward who allegedly assassinated Charlie Kirk, was living with a transgender partner. That's right, guys. Not only living together, but his partner is already fully cooperating with investigators, handing over texts and communications that directly tied Robinson to the murder. Think about it, guys. While Robinson himself is stonewalling, refusing to talk, the person closest to him is giving the FBI the receipts and everything that they need to form a conviction. And so those receipts, those were enough to confirm what many of us already knew, that Robinson wasn't just some random gunman, but a politically radicalized killer. Now, here's the question that nobody in the media wants to touch. What's inside of those texts? What exactly did Robinson tell his partner about why he was going to be doing this? And why are we learning about this in these carefully packaged leaks instead of a full FBI briefing? Well, this is where President Trump steps in, because while the FBI dribbles out details here and there, Trump is blasting it wide open. He's saying what every American already feels, that this assassination didn't happen in a vacuum. It was the product of years of Democrats screaming fascist at anyone who dared to disagree. And now the blood's on their hands. And so if you think that this stops with a partner reveal, oh, you'd be dead wrong, because the most chilling part of this whole story isn't even what happened after the shots were fired. It was actually what Charlie Kirk said just moments before his life was taken. And the worst time to test your Medicaid plan is in the middle of an emergency. That is the worst time to test your Medicare plan. But this is when most people realize that their Medicare coverage isn't what they thought it was. Horrible situation that many Americans find themselves in. This is exactly why I decided to partner with Chapter, because their advisors, they stress test your Medicare plan before life does. And they're doing it completely for free for the Ron Yates community. They check your fine print and compare it and prepare you for the unexpected. One viewer left me an amazing message the other day. She said, Chapter saved me before I even knew I had a problem with my Medicare plan. Oh my God, that's a godsend. So let me go ahead and ask, are you going to wait for an emergency, or are you going to do what most people already are doing, which is calling Chapter before it's too late? Now, most people, they're already dialing the phone number at the bottom of your screen right there, or they're asking, or they're going to the website, which is askchapter.org/Ron. The telephone number is 909-563-8279. Picture this, guys. Utah Valley University, Wednesday night, Charlie Kirk standing under the tent, microphone in hand, doing what he always did, taking the hard questions head on and basically eating these people up and spitting them out. All right. The last question he ever answered: do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Charlie didn't flinch. He looked out and said, too many. The next question came quick. Do you know how many mass shooters total over the last decade? Charlie, with that sharp wit that he always had, he gave one final reply: counting or not counting gang violence. And just like that, right before the crowd could even process it, he was gunned down. A single bullet, one assassin, and a prophetic, almost haunting set of last words that now echoes across America. He saw the danger, he named it, and moments later, it consumed him. So here's where it gets even stranger. How did investigators confirm the killer's identity? Not through some high-tech FBI sting, not through months of undercover work. No, the assassin's own father saw their surveillance images released to the public and recognized him. Now imagine this, guys. Think about this. Close your eyes. Think about this. A father seeing his own son's face tied to the most shocking political murder in decades. I mean, how many of you guys are parents out there? Can you imagine how that father might have felt seeing that, oh, wait, that's your son out there? Yeah. So the reports say he urged Robinson to turn himself in. At first, Robinson refused. He resisted, but eventually he broke and surrendered. But here's a question that should haunt every one of us. If this father could recognize him from those photos, how fast did the FBI really know it was Robinson? Were they sitting on it? Were they waiting? Or were they simply just too slow while Charlie's blood was still fresh on the ground? Now, here's where it gets chilling, okay? Tyler Robinson, the man who allegedly pulled the trigger, isn't saying a word. Not to the FBI, not to investigators, not to anybody. Total silence. But while Robinson clams up, his transgender partner's doing the opposite, cooperating, turning over text messages, handing investigators the communications that tie him to the assassination. Now, think about the dynamic there for a second, okay? The shooter is tight-lipped. He ain't saying a word. But the partner, the person who lived with him, the person closest to him, is spilling the beans. So what's really in those texts? What plans were shared? What motives spelled out? And here's a big question. Is the FBI holding back those details until after the election because they just know how explosive they are? And this is not just about the texts. Investigators also found the rifle abandoned in the woods nearby, right alongside with the unfired bullets. And on those casings, words literally carved into the metal of the round. Hey, fascist, catch. Oh, Bella Ciao, if you read this, you are gay. This wasn't just an assassination. This was theater. This was a grotesque performance designed to send a message, mockery mixed with ideology, a deranged shooter yet channeling years of left-wing rhetoric that smeared conservatives as fascists and normalized the idea that violence is resistance. So here's the real kicker, guys. Democrat leaders have been calling Trump a fascist for years, over and over again. So when a radical carves the word fascist onto his bullets and uses them to murder Charlie Kirk, don't tell me it's random. Don't tell me it's isolated. This was the logical end of the left's message. But the radicalization, it doesn't start or even stop with a few bullet casings. No, of course not. This trail runs straight through America's universities, student organizations, and of course, the Democrat Socialists of America. So here's where the rot begins. Tyler Robinson didn't just wake up one day and decide to assassinate Charlie Kirk. No, something or someone fed this poison into him. Reports are now linking him to the Democrat Socialists of America. This is one of the loudest voices on college campuses pushing the narrative that conservatives are fascists and that fighting them is justified. Now, you heard the chants. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. That's not harmless college protest. That is a war cry. That is a drumbeat drilled into the heads of young radicals right up until one of them decides to take it literally. And when they finally do, universities claim shock, right? But they've been fueling this fire for years. Campuses are no longer places of debate. They're radicalization factories. If it can happen at Utah Valley University, how many other campuses are powder kegs that are just waiting for the match, right? But the indoctrination doesn't stop at the classroom door, because the moment Charlie Kirk was murdered, social media lit up with celebrations. Professors posting selfies, nurses writing jokes about his death, even fire department employees mocking the assassination. These were not fringe accounts hiding in the dark. These were everyday professionals who just felt so bold and so confident in their hate that they thought it would be applauded for it. And now conservatives are done staying quiet. They're calling HR departments. They're exposing these people one by one. Jobs are being lost. Good for them. Sports journalists, healthcare workers, even animal hospital employees are being fired after celebrating murder. Here's the truth. This isn't cancel culture. Nobody's being punished for a bad opinion or a spicy meme. These are people who are openly cheering the assassination of an American citizen for his beliefs. And so when you celebrate political murder, you don't deserve to be trusted as a teacher, a nurse, or even or someone holding your life in their hands. No, you deserve to go. But when professors and nurses giggle online, President Trump is stepping in, and he's stepping up in a way that no other leader would, calling this exactly what it is, demanding maximum punishment and refusing to let the left spin their way out of this. And so this is where President Donald J. Trump separates himself from every politician who came before him. So while the media spins, while the FBI tiptoes, President Trump, he's in full-blown no mercy mode. I mean, he isn't just condemning this assassination. He is torching the entire culture that created him, okay? Trump flat out said exactly what the rest of us know in our gut. When Democrats spend years screaming fascist at Trump, at Charlie Kirk, at you, at me, they're planting the seeds of violence. And now, after Charlie Kirk's murder, Trump is demanding the ultimate punishment. He is calling for the death penalty. And let me tell you, he don't give a free coup defense, okay? Because to Trump, this isn't just about one man. This is about silencing 77 million voters. This is about making every conservative afraid to speak their mind. And Trump is saying loud and clear, not on my watch. And so while Trump takes that stand, what are the Democrats doing? You would think, at the very least, that they would pause just for a second for maybe a moment of silence in Congress to honor a murdered American. Well, wrong. When Republicans tried to lead that moment, Democrats disrupted it. They banged desks. They scoffed. They didn't even sit still for 60 seconds of respect. Here's the insult of all insults, okay? Even leaders in Europe, they showed more honor than Democrats in Washington. European lawmakers paused, prayed, reflected on Charlie Kirk's death. Meanwhile, Democrats here at home couldn't resist mocking the silence. So here's the twist, guys, and it's powerful. That pounding, that chaos inside the chamber, it's more than noise. It is the rumble of the silent majority waking up. The moderates, the forgotten, the people who kept their heads down, they're rising. And the Democrats, in their arrogance, they don't even hear the footsteps behind them. And if you think that this stops at Congress, think again, because the fingerprints of this radicalism and celebration of violence stretch far beyond DC into foreign bot farms, online propaganda, and adversaries who want nothing more than to see America tear itself apart. So here's the layer that the mainstream media doesn't want you to think about, okay? While we've been tracking professors, nurses, and even fire departments celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, foreign adversaries, they have been pouring gasoline on the fire. Investigators traced some of the most violent online chatter back to Chinese bot networks. Now think about that, guys. While Americans argued, cheered, and raged, Chinese and Russian accounts were quietly amping it up. They were amplifying it. AstroTurfing comment sections, feeding division into the bloodstream of our nation. Let's be real. Beijing and Moscow, they don't care about Charlie Kirk. They care about chaos. They care about chaos on American soil. They want America paralyzed, broken from the inside, tearing itself apart over identity politics and political assassinations. And the Democrats are handing it over to them on a silver platter with years of fascist rhetoric and refusal to draw a line at violence. But here's the beautiful twist. The silent majority, it's not silent anymore. They're walking in faith. They're watching all of this, and they're breaking away from the left in droves. We're seeing lifelong Democrats stand up today and say, that's it, I'm done. Artists, hippies, independents, even influencers like Shoe on Head are walking away because the left showed their true face. Celebrating a man's murder just because he was a conservative? Yeah. People are waking up. They're realizing you'll never be pure enough for the progressive mob. You can be pro-refugee, pro-green energy, pro-union. It won't matter. Sooner or later, if you question the hive, they'll turn on you. And if Charlie Kirk's assassination didn't prove that, the celebrations afterward did. And so now everybody, everyday Americans, moderates, independents, even liberals, they're saying what conservatives have been saying all along. Enough is enough. But this story, it's not just about political awakenings. It's also about honoring the man who paid the ultimate price. Because while Democrats sneer, Americans are rallying to make sure that Charlie Kirk's family never wants for anything. And so here's how we know this story isn't ending in silence. And just by the way, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but I made sure to make a financial contribution to Charlie's family. But across the country, Americans are stepping up for Charlie Kirk's family, myself included. Tucker Carlson launched a crowdfunding campaign and his own organization put in $1 million right out the gate. Now, as of today, that fund is closing in on $3 million. $3 million raised not by elites in Washington, not by globalists in Brussels, but by regular Americans who believe Charlie's wife and kids should never struggle a day in their lives. And I believe that they shouldn't. Do you? So this is what real community looks like. This is what the silent majority sounds like when it decides to roar. And Donald J. Trump, well, he's making it clear. Charlie Kirk will not be forgotten. Trump isn't playing by the media's rules anymore. He's calling for the harshest penalty for the assassin. He's ultimately slamming the culture of hate that fueled it. And he's also telling the left, the media, the FBI, you can't spin this one. The MSNBCs of the world, the CNNs of the world. So yeah, September 13th, 2025 is going to go down as the day that the mask slipped, the day that we learned about the shooter's partner, the FBI texts, the Democrats' disgraceful response. But it's also the day that the silent majority started marching, the day Trump proved that he's ready to fight without apology. This is the day that America said we're done being targets. Charlie Kirk gave his life for free speech. The left tried to scare us into silence, but instead they awakened something more massive than they could have ever imagined, a movement that cannot be stopped. So let me ask, are you ready to stand with Trump, with Charlie's family, with the 77 million Americans who refuse to bow? Because this is bigger than one man. It is the turning point of a nation. Like this video, share it everywhere, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel because this fight is only just beginning.